allow the judgment to handle the budget every year.
It's okay. Off your mic. It's okay.
She
Off your mic. Off your mic.
like me.
Chai! Now wow, people wey suppose talk truth to power don off mic. And if we talk, now 500,000 they go sama us, call them hate speech. But fear not, my ego don't come. Him go torchlight every corner, nooks and cranny of all these bad people where they spoil our country. So my people make we laugh, oh, yo, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo, yo. My people make we shout, oh, yo, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo, yo. My ego don't come, man of the masses, oh, yo, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo, yo. My ego diary politico, oh, yo, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo, yo. This one not the off in mind, oh, yo, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo, yo. And in the touchlight every corner, oh, yo, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo, yo. Okay, some people be they holla say they want the power. Chai, them be promise us say we go get light and power. Nah. Them hustle sote they can't get the power. But now they know they do anything with the power. Sure. Every day, dollar just they get the higher power over naira. Still them talk say make we off mind. But thank God say my ego don't come. So my people make you laugh, oh, yo, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo, yo. My people make we shout, oh, yo, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo, yo. My ego don't come, man of the masses, oh, yo, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo, yo. My ego diary politico, oh, yo, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo, yo. This one not they off in mind, oh, yo, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo, yo. Person where they do evil, no one make person talk. Them say that my yegun, that man too they talk. He too they talk. Say my yegun diary, he they hot like pepper. But every day then they take money in bulk. Woman picking, they the street they hawk. Still them talk say make we no talk. But thank God say my yegun don't come. So my people make you laugh, oh, yo, yo. My yegun don't come, oh, yo, yo. My people make you shout, oh, yo, yo. My yegun don't come, oh, yo, yo. My ego don't come, man of the masses, oh, yo, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo, yo. My ego diary politico, oh, yo, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo, yo. This man not the off in mind, oh, yo, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo, yo. Mayegun la wa mọ̀ la mọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Mayegun diary na he be number one. Mayegun la wa mọ̀ la mọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Mayegun diary na he be number one. Mayegun ti dé o ọ̀rẹ́ ara ìlú. Mayegun diary na he be number one. Lórí Facebook lórí YouTube. Mayegun diary na he be number one. Gbogbo bó ṣe ń lọ ni Mayegun já wa sí. Mayegun diary na he be number one. Àṣírí ọ̀jẹ̀lú kì í bò níbẹ̀ o. Mayegun diary na he be number one. Bó bá ṣe eré àní Mayegun máa wí. Mayegun diary na he be number one. Ó sì tún ṣe eré wàá gbọ́ níbẹ̀ o. Mayegun diary na he be number one. Mayegun diary politico. Mayegun diary na he be number one. Godfatherism kò sí lọ́rọ̀ Mayegun. Mayegun diary na he be number one. Ẹ farabalẹ̀ sẹ́ o kẹgọ́rọ̀ lẹ́nu o. Mayegun diary na he be number one. Àní Mayegun làwa mọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Mayegun diary na he be number one. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Mayegun ti dé. Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti lórí Facebook
Máyégún ti dé.
àní ẹ̀sùn làjú
Máyégún ti dé.
lórí YouTube
Máyégún ti dé.
àní ẹ̀sùn làjú
Máyégún ti dé.
bọ́ bàbá gbé wúrẹ́
Máyégún máa wí.
àní ẹ̀sùn làjú
Máyégún ti dé.
ijó ìgbádìyẹ
Máyégún máa wí.
àní ẹ̀sùn làjú
Máyégún ti dé.
pẹ̀sìdó bá rúfin o
Máyégún máa wí.
àní ẹ̀sùn làjú
Máyégún ti dé.
kí gómìnà kówó jẹ
Máyégún máa wí.
àní ẹ̀sùn làjú.
Máyégún ti dé.
Hello there. So good afternoon to you, good morning to you, and a good evening to you from wherever you are joining us. It is, call it brunch time with Mayegun. So welcome to the temple. After reading the caption of the broadcast, read the description as well, all right? Because they kind of like help you to have an idea of what this conversation is going to be all about. Then share it. Invite your friends, invite your not so friendly friends, right? And tell them to join us. The Mayegun is live. Now, for those of you who have possibly been following the reading of judgment by the Omotosho's court, like Omotosho himself, reading the judgment that he wrote against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, right? So he is coming back to give his what he called his verdict at the end of the his judgment. But for now, he has convicted, he has found Mazi Nnamdi Kanu guilty of 7 of their charges, the bogus charges. However, just so you know, all the charges that Omotosho has found Mazi Nnamdi Kanu guilty of, including terrorism, carried maximum sentence, which is death sentence. So there are others that carries a life sentence. But there is something I need you to quickly remember. That was 4 years ago. A woman called Binta Nyako did the same thing. I bet somehow, to those who have been following all of this up to this moment, right, you are not really surprised. Not Nnamdi Kanu himself is surprised. He's already told us this months ago that there will be no justice from their supposed courtroom, but rather he is there to help expose, their hypocrisy, the corrupt judiciary that you have that is actually acting as scripts. So Nnamdi Kanu will be convicted by Omotosho, who is reading a script today, and he will be doing so with a dead law, a law that doesn't exist. But somehow it is Nigeria. You will be stressing yourself to try to want to make sense out of their, nonsense, right? So to those of you who pretty much have been following this, and those of you who are new, let me give you a bit of a backstory. I like to do that before we get fully into this, all right? So Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the IPOB, who was extraordinarily renditioned from Kenya by the desperate Fulani terrorist government of APC under Bokwari. So their court has already ruled that the way and manner it was illegally brought back to Nigeria, right, as sort of like a disqualified any court or whatever in Nigeria to try Nnamdi Kanu. There's already a judgment on that, which they didn't honor. Okay, so Nnamdi Kanu has been discharged and acquitted, right, which indeed was also dishonored. Now, Omotosho, who is now pretty much like repeating almost everything Binta Nyako also read 4 years ago, that got Bokwari, Malamu, and others, and other Fulani terrorist Islamic sympathizer from this, especially from this APC, Egbekegbe, jubilant. But it didn't last. A year after, an appeal court said, listen, this is a pure judicial brigandage. It shouldn't even have happened. So Omotosho is now treading that same path like Binta Nyako. When they kidnapped Nnamdi Kanu from Kenya and took him to Nigeria, they charged him with, before that, right? The first time they kidnapped Nnamdi Kanu, it was in December 2015. 2015, right? And they charged him for treason. They said he brought Radio Biafra to Nigeria, and he was advocating for the breakup of Nigeria, which, according to them, was treason. Now, that didn't last long. So when they kidnapped him from Kenya, right, they changed what was supposed to be the charges they initially took him for, right? This time, they now charged him with treason. With terrorism. Now, terrorism in the sense that Nnamdi Kanu's preachings, all right, encouraged people to pick up arms and carried out his instructions. This was Omotosho's position, right? That same statement, right, was also used by Binta Onyako 4 years ago. And the appeal court said, no, there was nothing like that. You have to place somebody, right, beside this crime. You cannot convict someone based on his speech, free speech. You can call it whatever you want to call it, incitement, whatever, right? You still need to place him next to it. You cannot, yeah? But today, right, or should I say, when this Omotosho decided to take up the case, when Binta Onyako got recused, Omotosho promised fair hearing. A part of fair hearing is to ensure that you as a judge, as a court, you have access to all the court documents relative to this particular case, which is what Nnamdi Kanu was like. You don't actually have to expect me to start putting up a defense against a worthless case. There are court documents, there are court evidence there that you can refer to. If you are afraid of that, I mean, maybe if you are ignorant of that, I could direct you. But they kept saying, no, he needed to put up a defense. He needed to put up a defense. And he said, no, you would have to prove the law. This time around, I mean, you have to prove the law I am actually, because if you convict me, under what law would that be? And what would be my sentencing? Like, what would be my, conviction at the end of the day? Like, how many years, or what would be my punishment, so to say? So that is what Omotosho just told us now, that he's going to come back in the next 1 hour to come and give his judgment. Nnamdi Kanu was supposed to address the court after telling them that, listen, I'm not going to put up any defense until you show me this particular law. You, judge, should be the one to help. If this prosecution team are just doing what they have been told to do, but you are supposed to be the judge. So Omotosho denied Nnamdi Kanu his last supposed written submission, right? Even if he's not putting up any defense. He wrapped that up. So today, Omotosho used the last 1 or 2 weeks to write a judgment that is just a copy and paste with some little garnished word added to it. A copy and paste from what Binta Onyako also wrote and got trashed 4 and 3 years ago. So we are going to go to the court for the record, for the diary. And then one by one, right, you are going to see beyond a charade called judiciary. You're going to see enough of a better written script. And right now, from what they are now saying, oh yeah, you know what I mean? You are just watching a movie right now. The whole plot they are doing right now is that Nnamdi Kanu should be convicted, so that the political class, right, would then use that to see if they could convince him to drop the Biafran agitation and the rest of that for clemency. So Tifnubu will now say, I pardon him. So that's the script they are plotting. But Nnamdi Kanu never played ball. What made them believe that he's going to play the ball now? Like, tell them, yeah, Bokwari proscribed IPOB. There is no court in Nigeria that proscribed IPOB. It was Devulumayi and other Igbo governors that first announced the proscription of IPOB. It wasn't a court. Then Bokwari went on to get what they call the interim order or something, right? And then announced the proscription of IPOB. A West African court, right? In that Abuja, there's a court called the ECOWAS court. The ECOWAS court ruled that IPOB is not a terrorist organization, and therefore Nigeria should not treat them as such. Nigeria disobeyed that. American Congress, including the Americans, you can Google all this, rejected the lobbyists sent by Nigeria to help them at least identify IPOB as a terrorist organization. Americans told them, get the hell out of here. Even Britain, that some of you believe are on the side of Nigeria, they went as far as telling Nigeria that IPOB members, they are considered as persecuted, ethnically persecuted people in Nigeria. In case if you don't know, it is only in Nigeria, supposed judiciary or a judge now repeating a lie as part of his own written judgment. You're going to see all of that. Nnamdi Kanu is blamed for end-SARS protests. They said Nnamdi Kanu incited the people to go after the police and kill them. So they found him guilty of that. And so many others said that the sit-at-home. Nnamdi Kanu is also accused of ordering a sit-at-home, despite the fact that it was inside their own court that Nnamdi Kanu said, I am not in support, or I didn't give any order for anybody to sit at home, and that must end now. Some of you will remember the, the autopilot Simon Nepper. They went as far as saying, no, he was not talking to them. In fact, they came out and said they were not sitting at home because of him, that they will not take any order from him. All of these are in public place, right? But no, a judge who is reading a script was reading out absolute nonsense. And like we who have been following it, we are not surprised. So let's go to that court quickly, and we'll take it one after the other. Yeah. And hopefully we'll get to the point that we can take calls where people can actually react. I want to know what Omotosho want to convict Nnamdi Kanu for, and what would be his sentencing in this instance, and what law would he be quoting. Obviously, he managed to tell us that the government could arrest, according to him, any criminal, even if they arrested you illegally, even if they kidnapped you. That's contrary to the appeal court judgment that quoted the Nigerian law, that said you can't do that. Do you understand? There is an appeal judgment that said, no, that was wrong. The process was totally wrong. In fact, that nullified any form of criminal charges against Nnamdi Kanu in Nigeria. It has to be done properly. You will extradite him properly, and then you bring him to any charges you have for him in Nigeria. But no, Omotosho is now reading his own law, interpreting his own law, right, in their own temple of injustice. So this morning,
Thank you.
so that was the earlier, right? Before Omotosho started reading his written jargons. So there's somebody on that YouTube, I think his ID is something like a Wonder Wild. Can somebody help me knock an hammer on that person, like the hammer guys? Help me knock that person, a very, very strong hammer. Now I'm going to kill you. Telling me that I should watch my mouth, I should watch what I say, so that they won't charge me for terrorism too, right? So that your criminal government that are sponsoring terrorists and the terrorists, funding terrorism in Nigeria, right? They won't ask you to start pointing to me that I'm a terrorist now, Abi, for actually like outing their entire, their entire supposed conspiracy, right? So it will make sense that if I say, the APC, they will burn down Nigeria based on all of their actions. Would that make me a terrorist? It's like people with armor are not even awake this hour. Sorry for that distraction. Let me quickly do that myself. So that's what they do. They made you believe that, you know what, watch your mouth, though. And people have actually told me that almost like for the past decade. And these are mostly the people who somehow, right? They are like, I think they're like planted, or they planted themselves to make you believe that the absurdity, the madness that these guys have been like, perpetuating in that contraption, right, is something that you and I have no control over. So therefore, you either bow for them or you keep your mouth shut, something like that. That's not a real place, promise you. So, and that's also one of the reasons why most of them actually hate Nnamdi Kanu so much. They said he's arrogant, he's proud. Some are even calling him that he's already mad. Or how dare he talking to judges like that? Why would you sentence him to death, ignoring all of these factors just mentioned? Forgetting again that this is Nnamdi Kanu, right? In your own case, all they need is just to find something and put you behind bars too. The moment you decided to actually stand up and say something that is wrong with that contraption. So they said he's spreading hate, but the criminals who are paying, terrorists, who are pardoning terrorists, today want you to believe that Nnamdi Kanu is a terrorist. And then you see educated people explaining that to you by saying the Nigerian police, the Nigerian military, their DSS, couldn't actually arrest the criminals they gave guns to, politically sponsored criminals in eastern part of Nigeria. And how come that the moment they kidnapped Nnamdi Kanu and they went after the supposed Eastern Security Network, which they demonized enough, right? After setting up their own Ebubeagu was supposed to go after Fulani terrorists. No, they set up Ebubeagu to go after anybody known with IPOB or ESN. With their media on their side, one mofo is now asking me to watch my mouth. Because those are the things they don't want you to know. They don't want you to keep saying. They want you to keep believing the lies that Nnamdi Kanu is violent, he is dangerous. But the Fulani terrorists and the rest of those they are doing their peace meeting with, they are just, criminals, misguided criminals. And when they want to make it, they will say, no, all of them are the same. How can you say Nnamdi Kanu IPOB is at the same with these terrorists when Oplesus or Dimba, Oplesus or Dijo, Roger Sokoro, Hausa, and the rest of them who are funding some of these politically armed, who actually gave guns to these terrorists themselves? Yeah, the criminals in the eastern part of Nigeria. If your police couldn't go after them, right, you shouldn't put that on Nnamdi Kanu. When people went out to protest against the police brutality called the NSAS, right? So maybe all of us are terrorists then, because majority of us actually supported them. We encouraged them. We funded them because we felt it was the right thing to do. We raised money for them in this NSAS stuff. So if Nnamdi Kanu is being blamed for NSAS, then all of us are guilty. We are all terrorists then. But you see those thugs that they bust down to the locations of all these protest grounds in Alausa, at Lekki, what do you call it, the APC thugs that were captured on camera, captured when they were unleashing violence on the protesters. So then we'll say those ones are actually they are protecting the country, right? Their own hired criminals as well, who attacked protesters, who went as far as setting police station ablaze. They were all captured on camera. They were not Igbos. They were not IPOB. But today, a judge read a judgment, right, by saying Nnamdi Kanu was the one that encouraged NSAS in Lagos. So do you not have an idea where this is coming from then? Do you have no clue where this is also going? We are in a place where the APC, Egbekegbe, have weaponized tribalism. They've weaponized ethnicism. They've weaponized religious supremacy in that contraption, right? Then a judge is making you believe that, Nnamdi Kanu and the IPOB, meaning the Igbos, were behind the NSAS protest in Lagos. How ridiculous. So now we're going to go listening. And at a point, he actually challenged him, like, what are you talking about? Right? That Omotosho had to send Nnamdi Kanu out of the room. They said he was unruly. If I was him, I wouldn't even say anything there today. If I was him, but I'm not him. I am not Nnamdi Kanu. So he is Nnamdi Kanu because he is Nnamdi Kanu. You get that now? Let's go to the courtroom where Omotosho started his, his charade. Here.
It's raised here in the application, safety application for bail, have been raised by the defendants severally in this court. And this court has made an order that all preliminary objections or issues shall be taken during the judgment. This court is bound by that order. However, the issue as regards to referral of questions to the Court of Appeal and the stay of proceedings the statutory law governing criminal procedure in Nigeria, to it, Administration of Criminal Justice Act 2015, by Section 306 of that Act, which provides that an application for stay of proceedings in respect of criminal matters before court shall not be entertained. This statutory provision was initiated by the Court of Appeal in the case of Shuaibu versus Federal Republic of Nigeria. I must speak as to the essence, the reason for this statutory provision, that is Section 306 of Administration of Criminal Justice Act. The essence of this provision is to prevent inordinate delay through the filing of appeals while trial is going on. For this reason, the Section 306 of Administration of Criminal Justice Act having provided that such application shall not be entertained, this court shall not entertain same. As regards to the application seeking for bail, we have different types of bail applications. Bail application can be bail pending trial or bail pending appeal. I've looked at the application for bail. This application before this court does not fall within those two classes of application for bail. In this matter, as also stated by the defendant, that he has put in his defense. Hearing has been concluded. And also, by the order of this court, on the 27th day of October 2025, the court made an order that the defendant should negate putting his defense, or if he's not putting his defense, he should file address which shall be deemed to be final address. The defendant portion to that filed motion and comprehensive address. It is based on this that I hold that issues are relieved is highly unmeritorious. Same is hereby dismissed. Like I said earlier, all other issues have been raised to that motion and comprehensive final address that was deemed as final address and another motion filed thereafter. This court, in the interest of justice, will not close its eyes to see. The court will determine all this issue in its judgment. I proceed, I deliver my judgment. Judgment, please.
My Lord, I have an objection. Final written address is a constitutionally mandated right which I must be granted. It is in the constitution of this very country that final written addresses, my Lord, must be granted. I have not waived it, my Lord, and I insist that I address this court on all these issues. My Lord, do not forget.
Defendant,
My Lord,
consultants, can you tell
my Lord, I'm not, please.
raised here?
Now, for you to understand what was happening there, the last time Nnamdi Kanu was in court, which was the time he was expected to give his written address to the court. So written address is where you or your counsel, right, will address the court based on everything you've already presented, right, in a written form, so to say, right? So, and it would probably like, prove your case in this sense, like summarize the entire case and ask the court to let your client go. When Nnamdi Kanu was asking them to show him the law of which, in which they are trying him, they refused. Then he said, I can't put up a defense, because he was ready to put up his defense. He was already, he was already listed his witnesses, those he was going to call to stand, based on all these allegations, or based on all these charges, according to them. So he was asking for that, right? So they denied him the law, and he said, okay, I'm not going to put up a defense, but I am going to. Then the judge, Omotosho, said, Nnamdi Kanu should go and put everything he wanted to say, his objection, and also all of that, put it in writing. In the next court hearing, submit your written, what do you call it, submission, so to say. So on the day, the last time they were in court, so Nnamdi Kanu brought back the argument of, and he wasn't just arguing, he was actually quoting the section of Nigerian laws that says, when you accuse somebody of something, you must at least show them what part of your law you are using, so that they understand, right, what should be the punishment if they are found guilty. They are supposed to be, you are also meant to tell them that, see these charges, so if you are found guilty, it is death sentence. It's life imprisonment. You have to tell an accused, your law says that. It is your law, not him. He didn't manufacture it. He was speaking to the judge after he took over his own case and sacked his own legal team. Sacking his legal team to represent him doesn't mean that he doesn't have, what do you call it, legal advisors. His legal team are still very much with him, right? So which means he's not just talking out of ignorance. No. But they deliberately ignored him. Deliberately. Because this whole thing is scripted. So what is the worst they would do? Sentence him to death? And you really think they are just going to take him and go and kill him? Okay. So he decided to submit his written submission. Omotosho rejected it. He outrightly rejected Nnamdi Kanu's written submission, which is constitutionally allowed. So Omotosho is now saying Nnamdi Kanu refused to put up a defense. He refused to submit his written submission. What the hell, man? Like, this just happened just about 2 weeks ago. It's not like it's forever. There are still very much a video evidence of this. Like, why would a judge now go on and say, I went on, I've written my judgments, and I'm writing my judgment based on this, which is a lie. That's part of what we are saying. Injustice works in such a way that even you that wants supposedly your imaginary enemy jailed or killed or something, you can still very much see the entire compromise and, double standard in all of this. In other cases, people who have been charged, they've charged Showore for treason. They charged Sowore for terrorism. They've charged him for so many other things. But because maybe it's not a big fright for them, when it got to Nnamdi Kanu, every rule got rested. Every rule. And he had to speak there like, what are you saying? I mean, you didn't allow me to actually make this submission. So why are you now like writing a judgment on that? And as some already predicted, the fact that Nnamdi Kanu sacked his lawyers and at the same time he decided not to put up a defense based on what is constitutionally allowed, then he should be sentenced just like that. But not without a fight. Yeah, I'm not Nnamdi Kanu, so I would have sat through the whole thing because to me it's just like a charade. But no, it won't. Not in that circumstance. Now watch this.
Consultant, can you tell?
No, I'm not, please, let me finish. It's my case. It is my case, my lord, let me finish. My lord, in this very court, Emeka Itiaba SAN was here, my lord. Emeka Itiaba SAN said, at the right time we will contradict or controvert a piece of evidence. A piece of evidence given in this very court. I need to write my final written address, my lord. I must.
Which does.
My lord, I'm saying it clearly. I am entitled to final written address. What is my final written address? It's in the Constitution. My final written address. My lord, my final written address. Where is it?
Can you listen to the
I'm not, my lord, please.
Can you listen to the court?
Please, my lord. I need to file my final written address. It's in the Constitution.
I appeal to you to compose yourself. This temple of justice.
My lord, you are biased. You are biased. This is not law. You are biased. It's not law.
Please, I beg you to compose yourself.
My lord, this is not law. Show me where it says you can waive my right to final written address.
I beg you to
Show me.
compose yourself.
Show me where it says you can waive my right to final written address. And I'll sit down. Show me. My lord, you are conducting their case for them. You are the one running their case for them. Let them show me that the prosecution, show me where it says you can waive my right to final written address. And I'll sit down.
You have the right to appeal after.
No, my lord. This is a perversion of the cause of justice. This is not law. It is not law.
Can you excuse me?
My lord, I cannot excuse nullity and illegality.
Can you let him?
It's not possible. It is not possible, my lord. You must show me where the Constitution says you have the right to waive my written address. You must show me.
Excuse him.
Show me. Show me where it says so. Show me. Show me where it says so.
Excuse him.
Is that why you brought the cameras? Is that why you brought them today?
Please.
You didn't bring it before. You brought it today.
Please.
Show me where it says you can try me on a repeat law. Show me.
Please.
Show me where it says you can try me on a repeat law. I said, show me. Show me.
Excuse me.
Show me.
Get the microphone from him.
No, leave it. Leave it. Leave it. I said, leave it. It's a court of law. I'm under trial. I'm under trial and I have to speak. I'm under trial and I have to speak. Listen to me. Listen to me, please. I'm under trial. I'm under trial. I'm under trial. And I must address the court. Wait. No, listen to me. Please. The judge must listen to me. No. Wait. I'm asking a very simple question. No. Wait. Please. Look, this is Supreme Court. Wait, hold on. This is Supreme Court here. Hold on a second. Hold on. I said, hold on. May I inquire? This is not a court of law. It's not a court of law. What you're doing is not law. You don't know the law. Show me. I said, show me where you have the right to waive my right to final address. Show me. That's what the Constitution says. Show me. Show me. You cannot show me. You cannot show me. You cannot show me because you don't know the law. You can't show me. Wait, hold on. Don't touch me. Don't you dare touch me. People who don't know law prefer to know me. Show me where it says you can waive my right. Show me the place I'm asking you. Show me. Show me. Show me. Which law says you can try me an unwritten law? Show me. You cannot show me. And you're a judge. You can't be a judge. You don't know law. You don't know law. Nonsense. Where is the final written address? Where is it? Which law gave you the right to waive my final written address? Which law gave you that right? Nonsense. You think I try this with you? You try with me? You are mad. What is this one doing here? What are you 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 doing here? This is the idiot attack me. This is the fool attack me. That's the idiot attack me. That's the fool. Don't touch me. Don't push me. I'm telling you, don't touch me. I'm warning you, don't touch me. I'm warning you, don't touch me. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. I said, don't touch me. Don't. Smart people. You don't know.
You saw all of that. The last time, or the one before the last court appearance, Omotosho announced that he would no longer tolerate cameras in his courtroom. He will no longer tolerate people using their phones to record in his courtroom anymore. But today, they changed that. They brought all the media. Yeah, they brought all the media houses, everybody, cameras everywhere. Because the real people behind this whole show, this drama, this show of shame, the ridiculing of your own judiciary, the mockery of your judiciary, they need to watch the same. I mean, they need to watch it on their TV in their different covens. And Omotosho seems to have delivered. Yeah, he did. That Awumolo, the prosecuting counsel for the DSS in Nigeria, right, is now asking for death sentence. He wants Omotosho to sentence Nnamdi Kanu to death. They can't jail him. They can't kill him. If you believe that they are actually going to do that to him, you are more than naive than probably you admit. But the real thing here is not prosecution. It is persecution. It is. And all of this is simply because it is an Igbo man. Fulanis are killing all of us all over the place. They have spokesperson speaking for them. Gaslighting us, telling us that we are just overreacting. They are even telling us that we are Islamophobes. Islamophobes, how do you even pronounce that? They say we are Islamophobic. Simply because people who are shouting Allahu Akbar are shooting and killing kids and women, children. But they are still getting pardoned. We are seeing them on the screen. We have people speaking for them all over the place. But mention Nnamdi Kanu, everybody will lose their shit. Now let's go listen. This is where you are going to now see a written script at play. Omotosho now reading his judgments, one after the other. Right? Let's start with this one.
Declaration of a sit at home without any constitutional power, especially the accompanied by the threat, is a terrorist act. The defendant did not present any evidence to something, unquote. The defendant in the motion on notice and comprehensive written address prayed for reliefs, including for the court to discharge him, which is a typical prayer in final written address in criminal matter. No doubt, the defendant clearly knew what he was doing by opting for final written address in form of motion/comprehensive written address in compliance with the order of this court made on the 27th day of October 2025. This will therefore be treated as the final written address of the defendant, and same have been treated and considered in the entirety. The defendant had also filed a notice of preliminary objection on the 16th day of October 2025. These two should be considered in the interest of justice, as the court having ordered that all preliminary objections will be determined in the judgments. Also, the preliminary objection filed on the 16th October 2025 is also considered thoroughly in these judgments. Another aspect of denial of fair hearing raised by the defendant is that he was misled into taking his plea in the charge. When the charge was read to was to be read to him, the court asked if he understood English. He responded that he did. When count one was read to him, he at first stated that he did not understand. The court ordered the registrar of the court to read the counts to him. He understood and took his plea. For the avoidance of doubt, I will reproduce part of the proceedings of 21st day of March 2025 when the plea of the defendant was taken. Registrar Nnamdi Kanu, do you understand and speak English language? Defendant, I do. Yes. Registrar, listening to the charge against you. Count 1. Registrar, after reading, do you understand count 1 I read to you? Defendant, I don't. Courts, take it again. Count 1. Registrar, after it, did you understand count 1 I read to you? Defendant, I do. Yes. Registrar, are you guilty or not guilty? Defendant, not guilty. Count 2. Defendant, do you understand count 2 I read to you? Defendant, I do. Registrar asked him, are you guilty or not? Defendant reacted, I'm not guilty. Count 3. Registrar read to him and asked him, defendant, do you understand count 3 I read to you? Defendant, I do. Registrar asked him, are you guilty or not? Defendant responded, I not guilty. Count 4. Registrar read and asked him, do you understand count 4 I read to you? Defendant responded, I do. Registrar asked him, are you guilty or not guilty? Defendant responded, not guilty. Count 5. Registrar read and asked him, do you understand count 5 I read to you? Defendant responded, I do. Registrar, are you guilty or not? Defendant responded, not guilty. Count 8, now count 6. Registrar read and defendant, do you understand count 6 I read to you? Defendant said, I do. Registrar, are you guilty or not? The defendant responded, not guilty. Count 15, original 15, now count 7. Registrar read and said, defendant, do you understand count 7 I read to you? Defendant responded, I do. Registrar asked him, are you guilty or not? Defendant responded, not guilty. The defendant clearly understands English language, being an educated man. On that day, he had his counsel, including senior advocates such as Kanu Agabi, SN, representing him on that day. The court complied with the procedure of taking the plea of the defendant in accordance with section.
So that was Omotosho, proving to us that Nnamdi Kanu understood the charges against him. Now let me explain this again, just in case if you didn't understand me the last time. Nigeria says they have case against Nnamdi Kanu. And the case against him, which started with treason, has now changed to terrorism. Now, they've presented what should have been their case and their evidence. There is no single physical evidence against Nnamdi Kanu, except that he broadcasted, he said, and they were quoting things he said as it suits them as their evidence against him. And the judge said, these are incontrovertible evidence, which means they are evidence that you cannot even dispute. Okay, these are your evidence. Good. Now, let's start with the charges. On what law did you bring about these charges? So that I can see if they are relative, so that whenever I'm going to defend myself, I know that you are charging me based on this law, not what you are charging me about, on this law. So that if I am convicted, this will be my punishment. I need that. That has not been cited since this whole thing started. And I'm pointing it out now. So if there's anything at all, it should be for them to go and amend their own case, amend their charges. But they didn't. They went on. Now, in law, there's something called rule of law. Rule of law means laws that is written in that plain sentence can mean many things. That's why you have the rules of law. Rules means as this thing is written, it doesn't matter how it sounds to you. The interpretation of it remains the same, not what you interpret it as. So because of that, right, everybody should follow it. So show me this. Then after that, I will put up my defense against your allegation. You stole my wristwatch. You borrowed money from me, you didn't pay. Oh, you backbite me. All those things, right? Those are your allegations, right? Good. Now I will address them one after the other. Okay? So that the judge will then say, this is my defense, this is my own defense, right? These are the charges and allegations against me presented before the judge. That is what is called fair hearing. Nnamdi Kanu never got any of that. For your information, all these years that Nnamdi Kanu had all these best brains as lawyers, the DSS has become so powerful that even when the court granted Nnamdi Kanu access, that he should be allowed to have access to his own legal team, discuss his own case. Oh, yeah, they granted him access to his legal team. But did they allow them to actually have proper conversation? Written conversations and the rest of that? No. They were not allowed to go in with electronics. They are not allowed to go in with a paper or pen. They were just allowed to go in there and have conversation, fully monitored with about 4 cameras in a room. All of them, right, capturing every verbal thing they say. That's not fair hearing. So many other things that happened, though, that this same court ignored. That's not fair trial. Somebody is standing criminal. You don't understand criminal trial. It simply means, right, for fair hearing, he would have access to every material that he could use in defense of himself. But they didn't give him that. A lot of you are reading a lot of these junks in their media, all this rubbish that they are publishing. Nobody is actually asking the real question behind this whole thing. Not that Nnamdi Kanu doesn't want to defend himself. He's been defending himself, but most of the time, these guys have been running from their own court. And wherever the court gets, wherever the court caught up with them, they suddenly change the rule again. How is that fair? Somebody is being tried for something, is preparing for it, and the next thing, you switch, you changed it. Every now and then, because it is Nnamdi Kanu. So they may tell you that I made a mistake, whatever you even tell yourself, it doesn't matter. I'll keep reminding you that it will be a deranged person that will 100% expect justice from that their court, in this case. The double standard. His case is even like a double jeopardy. So one of the prosecution team, the lawyer, said that the court should ignore Nnamdi Kanu's stand or plea and all of that. They should go ahead and deliver judgment, which is what Omotosho is doing right now. But watch this.
Reply to the first motion on the 14th of November 2025. We also filed a reply, a counter affidavit and a reply in respect of the first motion. For the second motion, we also filed a reply all on the 14th of November 2025. For the third one, for the further application for bail, we did not file any counter affidavit. So for the first one, sir, I respectfully adopt the counter affidavit of the prosecution and the written address. And we urge your lordship to dismiss the application because it's a regurgitation or repetition of the well-worn argument that the counts which the defendant pleaded to are unknown to law. It is for your lordship to determine that in other ones. But the one asking for stay of proceedings, my lord, our argument is to the fact that the statute does not permit your lordship to grant any stay of proceedings or injunction. So we ask your Lordship to dismiss it. And for the second, we also filed a written address dated 14/11. We adopt it with all respect, and we urge your Lordship to dismiss the application as lacking in merit. For the last application, asking for the defendant to be admitted to bail on the same ground that, the counts to which he pleaded not guilty were unknown to law. Again, is a repetition of the old argument. It is for Lordship to determine whether the laws were valid, whether his plea was valid, and whether he is answerable to the law when he committed the terrorism acts. The terrorism acts he committed was...
Please,
So we urge your Lordship to dismiss the application. On the other ground is also to the fact that the applicant has another pending motion filed in March, in April 2025, asking for the same relief, bail. So the latter bill, the latter application with respect, is an abuse. In any event, none of them merits. We urge your Lordship.
Nuisance, Lily.
That's Awomolo. Okay? So asking the courts to ignore those requests of Nnamdi Kanu and go ahead and deliver the judgments, which is exactly what Omotosho did. Now, here we're going to get to the part where Omotosho started linking everything wrong with that contraption to Nnamdi Kanu. Yeah, it was practically blamed for Nigeria killing their own citizens during the NSAS, and then denied it. They denied and nobody died. So right now, is now being not like a blame for it. So many other things he was reading. So yeah, let's go listen to a few of them. Not all of them, because it was like about 2 hours long. So I've put out a few that I think are relevant, right, to this conversation. Why we're also monitoring what is judgment going to be, like what is going to be Nnamdi Kanu sentencing to death, life imprisonment, 100 years in prison, and all of that based on non-existing law. Did you hear what Awomolo said there? That's Awomolo. Awomolo said, because when they were doing the trial, they asked Nnamdi Kanu, right, when they were reading his charges to him, that was he guilty or not? That Nnamdi Kanu already said he's not guilty. He's already taken a plea. Because he already took a plea, and now asking them that the law that they are trying him on should be proven. That simply means that it is just a repetition. The court should ignore that. Nnamdi Kanu already pleaded not guilty, which means the court has recorded his plea. So that there is no law that backs it, or whatever that he's saying, the court should ignore it. They should ignore that. That's what he was saying in that video. And that's exactly, like I said, what Omotosho did. Reading his judgment according to him, and why Nnamdi Kanu is guilty of this or guilty of that. Let's take them one after the other. Watch this.
Declaration of a sit at home without any constitutional power, especially the accompanied by the threat, is a terrorist act. The defendant did not present any evidence to rebut this case, the case of the prosecution. Consequently, he admits the evidence as presented by the prosecution. The prosecution has successfully proved count 2 beyond reasonable doubt. Consequently, the defendant is hereby convicted of count 2. Is that beginning from the commencement date of 28th September, if you go there and negotiate any other thing apart from Biafra, you better not come back, because our people will be waiting for you, that very person, unquote. When he was asked about the consequence for this representative, including one Ike Nwanchuku, the defendant was unequivocal when he said, things have changed, and that because the only language that people in the zoo understand is language of violence and force, After all, that very contraction was put together by Frederick Lugard by force. That is what many people don't understand. Lugard killed many people to put Nigeria together, and the killing of people to disintegrate the zoo shouldn't come to anybody as a surprise. Our promise is very simple. If they fail to give us Biafra, Somalia will look like a paradise compared to what will happen to the zoo. It is a promise. It is a pledge. Also a threat to them. They must understand it, that we have had enough of this nonsense. Unquote. It is not noteworthy that defendants in the said interview kept referring to the southeastern part of Nigeria as Biafra. The defendants made some comments, such as the governor of the southeastern state being the stooge of Hausa Fulani godfathers. He even stated that Rochas Okorocha, former governor of Imo, had instrumentalized the entire state to satisfy his Hausa Fulani godfather. He said nobody had asked Governor Peter Obi about Izu River and the person dumped in the said river. Further, during the interview, defendants, while answering a question about whether he will embrace a peace separation or choose a violent path, stated at about 7 minutes 30 second mark of Sahara TV interview in exhibit PWW, which is a flash drive containing all its broadcasts, said, and I quote, "If they do not give us Biafra, there will be nothing living in that very zoo called Nigeria. Nothing will survive there, I can assure you," unquote. He also made reference to the Nigeria Civil War when he said, in 1967 to 1970, is not 2010 to 2015. Then we had scientists, but now we have people who can make things happen even better than what we had in the late 60s. So that should ring a warning that we are not joking. 8 minutes mark in the flash. He said, "I do not believe in peaceful actualization of whatever rubbish is called. I have never seen where you will become free by peaceful means," unquote. The defendant also lent support for violent acts when he said he welcomed what a group known as Biafra Zionist group did when they unleashed violence at the Enugu State Government House. He even said he hoped more people will come out to join his group to overthrow the corrupt and inept persons in administration of the government, stating that Biafra must exist and it is their right to make sure it happens. In the broadcast of 16th May 2021, also contained in exhibit PWW, the defendants in the beginning of the broadcast stated thus: "My name is Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. I am the leader of indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, and director of Radio Biafra and Biafra Television. I will remain a loyal servant of the people of Biafra." He further stated around 51 minutes mark, and I quote, "If God is on our side, which I know He is, the army of Nigeria will die in Biafra land. Everybody will die. I will be the one leading it. By God's grace, everything called Nigeria will perish in Biafra land. The world must be prepared for what is to come. I want to let Katrina Lungs and the British government to know that we have chosen the path of death, and people are dying every day. We have to develop the mindset of after this, which even though NATO is there, we say that we are ready to die, and everyone that comes to kill us will die also, because things will start happening in the next 14 days. In the next 2 weeks, the slaughter will begin to happen. You see those CNN that have refused to come to Biafra. We come by force to see what is happening. We will make sure that every Nigerian soldier on Biafran soil will die. God is my witness. I will lead this burial myself, unquote. Around 55 minutes mark to the exhibit, he said, and I quote, I want the United Government to understand that we are ready to die than be slaves, unquote. At about 1 hour mark, he said, and I quote, Israel was named Palestinians by the Romans because they were too stubborn. If you go there...
Omotosho. I don't know if I am the only person who felt like a judge reading like somebody who is in primary school gives the different vibes, right? So thank you, Judge Omotosho, because what they did is called extraction. By extracting statements, removing context. When Nnamdi Kanu said every soldier that come to Biafra land would die, that quote was taken out of an ongoing broadcast. It was the invasion of eastern part of Nigeria, who were supposed to actually be there to provide security for the people of the eastern Nigeria, only for them to start profiling the young people in the eastern part of Nigeria. It was, it was actually one of the things that motivated him to speak more on the police brutality during the NSAS, because what you felt like was too much, especially in the southwest, was like horrific in the eastern part of Nigeria at the time. Part of the reasons also why he's always angry is the way the Nigerian authority have been treating the people of eastern Nigeria, something that if you have never experienced it well, you will never understand. However, he was addressing that and said, if you, by any means, wage another war on us, this time around we will fight to death, and every soldier that comes to Biafra land will die. And up to this moment, they couldn't actually pin Nnamdi Kanu to any violence or any of these things, except just quoting him. There was no any form of harassment or any sign of crime linked to any member of the IPOB when Nnamdi Kanu was doing his broadcast. It's like, projecting, telling you that very soon the people will rise, because people would rise. And there are those who still believe that Nnamdi Kanu not calling out a huge shutdown of the eastern Nigeria at the time was actually a favor for these power misruled miscreants parading themselves as your leaders. Okay, so Nnamdi Kanu is very much like upright and very straightforward with his sayings, but that doesn't connote crime. That doesn't automatically mean terrorism. Until they kidnapped Nnamdi Kanu in 2021 from Kenya, locked him up in the DSS dungeon, and surprisingly, suddenly, unknown gunmen just brought out of eastern Nigeria. As they are breaking prisons, so were they kidnapping, and at the same time committing different kind of crimes that are so alien to the IPOB when Nnamdi Kanu was free. Why was that? We're asking. Why was it that until you kidnapped Nnamdi Kanu and suddenly the security of the eastern part of Nigeria became threatened? Why? Because the government is involved. They needed something, right? To eventually, because they were planning to cook a terrorism charge anyway. So they needed something to correlate with that. Hopeless or Digba and the rest of them, who are meant to actually really be probed. are now the ones who are leading the probe and leading the narrative in this sense. So they unleashed terror, their own terror, right, on the eastern part of Nigeria. Then Nnamdi Kanu said, if I am out of this place, this nonsense will stop the first 5 minutes I am out of this place. They said, no, he's lost control of them. No, just convict him, send him to kill him. He cannot stop them anymore. People who said he is the one or is the reason why young people are agitating in the eastern part of Nigeria, which is not true. It's not. Then the person said, oh, you know what? If I'm out of this place, within the first 5 minutes that I'm out of this place, this madness will stop, because it would automatically like name and shame the real people behind it. Now, you need to link Nnamdi Kanu. I was expecting, listen, I'm expecting the Nigerian government, right, that have invested the last 10 years hunting down an innocent man, while they are also in bed with the real terrorists. 10 years. I was expecting them to at least present evidence of bank transactions, right? Present witnesses that will say Nnamdi Kanu paid them money to buy weapons, to train this, something that will link him. While you are also presenting the real violent people that you claim are IPOB or ESN. Some of you are not asking that question, but I understand why. Because there are so many of you that have bought all these their propagandas, their lies, hook, line, and sinker, while they are committing systemic genocide in the eastern part of Nigeria. I don't think you know that, right? No, you don't. I was expecting them to at least present witnesses. Here you get, all those people that are like criminals, but they are like going to say, cut a deal and then become state witness. That's what I was expecting. But no, Baba, they are quoting Nnamdi Kanu's broadcast. They want to convict Nnamdi Kanu for treason because of his broadcast. And there's no single presentation of these killings that took place in so place. Here are the witnesses. They said it was you, Nnamdi Kanu, that sent it, because they know that if they have to present any witnesses, there is nothing they can find on him between 2011 to 2021. Nothing. Because those are the times that he was in and out of their prison, right? Nothing. So now, if they have to say Nnamdi Kanu is responsible for all this terrorism, all these killings, or whatever they are claiming, they will have to say Nnamdi Kanu is communicating with the people from DSS detention. They would have to prove that. So maybe this is what would have happened if they had proven to Nnamdi Kanu that this is the law we are charging you with, and this is why we are going to convict you. Sure, you get. In his defense, and those people he wanted to call to come and bear witnesses and all that, including with the wicked, maybe that would have been what would have happened, and said, listen, is there any record of any harassment or violent whatever linked to the IPOB before 2021? They would say no. Then when I was kidnapped and locked up in the DSS detention, are you saying that I'm actually controlling and commanding the people that are, committing crimes in the eastern part of Nigeria? So DSS will be called, all of them will be called in to say, could you please prove how I have been communicating with them, that you can now link all this to me? When they were trying Simon in, Finland, it took them a whole year and a half, by the way, before they finally felt like, we found some. You know what they did? They traveled down to the eastern part of Nigeria. And interviewed the supposed, family members of those either officers or civilians that, became victims of this violence at the time. And they all said those who attacked them claimed to be BLA, this or that, And Simon was sentenced to 6 years. In Nigeria, they have no witness that says Nnamdi Kanu or IPOB or ESN did this to us. they did this to me, they did this to our village. But the entire media is flooded with all of this propaganda, right? But in their courts, it is because Nnamdi Kanu broadcasted that made him a terrorist. That's what Omotosho said. Listen to this other part.
Too stubborn. Go and ask how they did it. They bombed them, the Romans, away. Not these roadside bombs. Every road leading to Biafra will be man, Lama, everything that is Nigeria, whether it is police, army, we blow till the kingdom come. Every neat and simple. Very neat and simple, unquote. The defendant also stated in that same broadcast, and I quote, "We are asking for our freedom, and they aren't listening. But when we start doing what we want, the whole world will start begging us, and then I will come out from wherever I am and tell them that it's too late. Throw away your phones. Remain incommunicado as we are in the state of war. It will not kill you to do away with your phone. All people should go into the bush and stop the advance of this army, or else they will kill you." Unquote. These words spoken by the defendants in those broadcasts were not mere words, as they bear every traces of threats to harm people, including international representatives representing their nation in Nigeria. The said broadcasts were several in numbers, and defendants kept repeating his rhetorics that people will die if Biafra is not created. The defendant planned to commit the terrorist act did not only manifest in his broadcast, but was shown in a meeting he had with other Igbo people in the United States. At a World Congress, Igbo Congress meeting held at the 4 Points Hotel in Los Angeles, in the United States of America, as contained in Exhibit PWW. The defendant, while speaking to the audience, stated, and I quote, "We must not miss this golden opportunity we are bound to suffer in this time to come. You must come out to support what we are doing. We need guns and we need bullets. I know we love life so much. Without it, Hausa will overrun us. They have succeeded in imposing Okoroshan on us. They are coming. Boko Haram is coming in Igbo land." Unquote. A female participant stood up to ask the defendant of his objective, as well as why need for weapons. The defendant responded, and I quote, "We now know that the best way to defend ourselves is to be armed, because Boko Haram is everywhere in zoo called Nigeria. So we need guns and bullets, and those of you in America will give it to us. Also, on the 22nd day of this month, something will happen called the blood moon. Most of you don't know that just before the Civil War, there was blood moon. There was blood moon in 67, and it only happens once in a while, because after this year, we will be free no matter what happens. If we don't get Biafra, everyone will live to die. We are not joking." His intention was quite clear. He believes only in violence as the solution to the creation of Biafra as a nation. And at the said World Igbo Congress, most of the participants were quite alarmed by the expressions as is planned, and so they kept asking if he had considered the option of peaceful dialogue, to which the defendant was adamant that only violence could lead to the achievement of his aim. These threats of violence are nothing but terrorist act, which was duly carried out by his followers as will be seen later in this judgment. The defendant knew what he was doing while making these violent statements. He obviously had an objective, which, one, the face of it is political. That is, secession of the state of Southeast, South, and some middle belt states from the Federal Republic of Nigeria to form Biafra. The defendant was also bent on achieving his objective with the use of violence, and he didn't mind if his own people die in that process. As one of the crucial elements in establishing crime, the intention and the knowledge with which defendant carried out the acts can be expressed by him. If not so expressed, can be deduced from his conduct. Too stubborn.
Nuisance leleyi. Nuisance leleyi.
Nnamdi Kanu went to America and he addressed Igbo conference and warned them that you may think I am a madman. You may even think I am a warmonger. But you know something? There is already war at the gate. The Fulani terrorists are coming. And they are, he actually even called them Boko Haram too. They are coming down south. Eastern Nigeria needs to get ready. The politicians don't care. The elites don't even know. I am calling all of you now that the only way, the only language understood by this Fulani terrorist is violence. You cannot negotiate with them. At the time when Nnamdi Kanu was screaming like that, it was actually looking like a madman to some of these Americans. Where are you today? Igbo conference in America, especially those of you who are like all these rich Igbos in America that believed that with the comfort you have acquired, accumulated for yourself, for your children and the rest of them, right now it's not the time for anybody, or then was not the time for anybody to be talking about war coming. Today, you have your own people from Enugu to Ebonyi, from Ebonyi to Imo. You have these terrorists, right? Ransacking all these border towns, all these border communities, kidnapping people, killing them, stopping them from going to farm. Years after you saw a supposed madman calling your attention to something that was still to come. You were so comfortable. Very comfortable. And some of you are still pretty much convinced right now that Nnamdi Kanu's rhetoric brought about this violence or whatever in the eastern Nigeria. Whose rhetoric is bringing violence to us in Yoruba land right now, for example? Hang on, whose rhetoric do you think brought this violence on the people of the middle belt of Nigeria? He was raising an alarm, and we were so comfortable that we didn't see it. By the time we started seeing it, the hand of our oppressors, our killers, those who are in bed with our own killers, the terrorists, they've already got him. And that is why we are all witnessing what we are witnessing right now. Today, everybody who is from Nigeria, even Nigerian friends, are calling on the government of Nigeria to do something and protect Nigerians. From who? From the people Nnamdi Kanu said the Igbos should get ready, buy guns, get weapons. Every time Nnamdi Kanu was speaking, right, the reason why he always included Nigeria was that he told us, he said, when these terrorists begin to kill us, their sponsors in government, they will protect them. Is that not what is happening now? Oh, it's the way he was saying the message. It's the way some of you have found it so hard to even admit that you were wrong. You are just following this script with them. But his word, his message, terrorists are not even speaking to you. They just come and kill you. And whenever they have a peace meeting with your supposed government, they give conditions. And you watch them alarmed. So those of you who are in that meeting, at that meeting, when Nnamdi Kanu requested for weapons, and you thought he was preparing war with Nigeria, he knew that if you try to fight this terrorist, Nigeria will fight you. Is that not what we are witnessing right now? Are people not being disarmed? Are communities not being disarmed? Just for these terrorists to wade in, kill people and get away. And then we will start talking like, hey, government should do something. They have to do something. Imagine if you have a society where indeed those of us in the diaspora have shown interest in stuff like this, invested in the local security and the rest of them, encouraged them, in our own different ways, do you really think we will be this apprehensive every time we hear the news from Nigeria? They are in Kwara now. We have seen them in Ekiti. We've seen them in Ondo. They've done it in Ogun State. Oyo State has been battling with them. But they have done so well to suppress most of this news because it hasn't affected some of you. So what they made you believe he was calling for war was actually a call for help, where those who were supposed to actually do all these things did them, so that at least Nigeria created Nnamdi Kanu. You need to admit that. Failure, the disjointed, divided contraption that these guys have created Nnamdi Kanu. Nnamdi Kanu is a son of necessity. Whether you value him now or you don't, his traducers, his persecutors, they may think they're having the field day right now. You, the spectators, hearing them on, you may think you're having the best time right now. But you know something, if you pay attention very well, you will realize that the trajectory where these guys are taking all of us to, it's not going to end well. And you are going to become Nnamdi Kanu too. It's just a matter of time. So Omotosho now here, finding Nnamdi Kanu guilty of all this trumped up nonsense, right? That they couldn't directly link into. But as it is scripted, Nnamdi Kanu, guilty or not, he must be guilty. So we are not asking them for justice, because they are not even capable of giving that. Criminals, unjust people, sitting in the temple of justice can never give you justice. Just charade like this.
Declaration of a sit at home without any constitutional power, especially the accompanied by the threat, is a terrorist act. The defendant did not present any evidence to rebut this case, the case of the prosecution. Consequently, he admits the evidence as presented by the prosecution. The prosecution has successfully proved count 2 beyond reasonable doubt. Consequently, the defendant is hereby convicted of count 2. Is that beginning from the commencement date of 28 September 2017, any person claiming to be a member of IPOP commits a terrorist act. The defendant, by his broadcast of 11th May 2021, 12th December 2020, professed to be a member of proscribed group. Thus, he is in breach of Section 16(1) of the Terrorism Prevention Amendment Act 2013. Consequently, he is hereby convicted of count 3. Other human being was incomprehensible, and this court hereby condemned it. But I must say that the evidence extracted is minute compared to the avalanche of. I must say that evidence extracted in this judgment is minute and very small to the avalanche of evidence and broadcast before this court by the defendant. The defendant made extremely threatening statements, incited people to violence. The prosecution has successfully discharged its burden of proving counts 5, 4, and 5 beyond reasonable doubt. Consequently, the defendant is hereby convicted of the said counts 4 and 5. There is also no evidence that Radio Biafra is registered with the Nigeria Broadcasting Commission, as stated by PW4. Thus, it is safe to conclude that the concealment of transmitter is in furtherance of the illegal operation of Radio Biafra by the defendant. The defendant, as a consequence of resting his case on the prosecution, did not call any witness to report the evidence of the prosecution, neither did he lead any evidence to counter the evidence of the prosecution. There is no evidence before this court stating the transmitter was lawfully imported into Nigeria. The defendant had the duty to present evidence and filed to report the allegation made against him, but he failed and deliberately refused to do so. The court is therefore bound to believe the evidence of the prosecution. Consequently, the court hereby convicts the defendant of count 7 of the charge. Means of transport of an international protected person in a manner likely to endanger his person or liberty. C. Threatening to commit any such attack, commit an offense, and is liable on conviction to life imprisonment. The High Commissioner is an international protected person, being the representative of the British government in Nigeria as well as other staff of High Commission and Embassy of the United States of America, leaving the defendant to continue his terrorist activity who have led to an international incident involving Nigeria and other foreign nations who are good partners with Nigeria. The question to ask again is whether bombing or attacking embassies of high commissions constitutes an actor consistent with agitation for self-determination. Again, the answer is no. All these acts goes to show that the criminal tendency of the defendant as well as show concrete proof of his terrorist act. Therefore, I hold without hesitation that the prosecution has successfully established count 6 against the defendant. Consequently, he is hereby convicted of count 6 of the charge.
Clap for yourself. Omotosho. So Nnamdi Kanu did not register Radio Biafra with the NBC. Nnamdi Kanu talking about the British High Commissioner to Nigeria, British Ambassador to Nigeria in that manner, and threatening to bomb the UK embassy. Nnamdi Kanu never said anything of bombing any embassy, for God's sake. Where did Omotosho get that from? Anyway, so because he didn't register with the NBC, he's guilty. So, meanwhile, Nnamdi Kanu never even broadcasted 1 minute video in Nigeria. The irony, right? When they started their charade case, you know what they first said? They actually listed then that Nnamdi Kanu from his London home has been using the social media to send these messages to millions of people. You get that now? Then they now realize that, hey, hang on, no, that means he committed the crime in UK. So this case should have actually started in the UK. Nigeria was supposed to come to the UK. You get me now? And then start a case with Nnamdi Kanu here. So when they discovered that mid-trial, they just expunged it and they were like, remove that one, remove that one. Let's talk about him bringing the equipment to Nigeria and make it look like he committed it in Nigeria. About law, crazy gone, right? But it is also very much unambiguous, right? Because law is very straight that way, except when people want to manipulate it, they want to turn it around and the rest of that, like they are just doing. You know? So Awomolo then rose. Like I said, I'm not going to give you everything because it was a long read. So I have just received the breaking news that Omotosho has now sentenced Nnamdi Kanu to life imprisonment. Why not death? Death sentence. Treason is death sentence. Yeah. Let me see the charges again. You see all these charges he said he has convicted him of, right? So when you look at it, the count 1, treason, count 2, the rest, so you get count 2, count 3. Count 2 is, count 1 is death by hanging. Count 2 is life imprisonment. Count 3 is life imprisonment. No, count 3 is death by hanging as well. Count 4, I'm gonna. So only 2 or 3 actually carried life sentences. Do you get me now? But Omotosho decided to just give him life sentence. We're going to get to that part. Here was Awomolo asking Omotosho to sentence Nnamdi Kanu to death upon his return.
With all sense of humility, I say, sir, as a prosecutor, that this court has no discretion in that regard, and that the only sentence that your lordship will impose for counts 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6 is death sentence. This court has the power to do so, and with respect must do so. The language of the act is clear, and the court is urged to apply it strictly without deviation. For the officer, with all sense of humility.
So that's a woman law, right? Or in the middle of that, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's lawyer, Aloy Ejimako, was given a chance to address the court. So was his House of Representatives, sort of like a rep. They were both given the microphone to address the court before Omotosho came back to grant his life sentence judgment. Again, the whole thing goes to appeal after that, right? And the charade continues. We'll get to that part. Here.
But we must still give him opportunity to hear one or two things from him, but not personal, through his person. Since his consultant is here, and the offense has to do with death sentence, I will call his consultant, that was his lawyer before he converted him to consultant, if he has any allocutors to make on his behalf. Mr. Ejimako, do you have any allocutors to make on his behalf?
My Lord, being an officer in this temple of justice and not being properly dressed and not being his counsel of record, I will yield this very task to Honorable Obinna Agocha, who is better qualified than me, being the member of House of Representatives who represents Mazi Nnamdi Kanu.
It's okay. Honorable, let me have your full name and restrict yourself to allocutors.
Yeah.
Allocutors is what will mitigate the sentence. Is our brother. Let us hear you. You tell us your name. We can't, because of your ruling behavior, deprive him of allocutors. Can I hear from you?
Thank you, my Lord. My name is Right Honorable Obi Agocha. I represent the good people of Iguano, Umuahia North and Umuahia South Federal Constituency in the 10th National Assembly. My Lord, I am the direct representative of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. That's why you see me here almost every time, showing presence and also showing solidarity with him. The matter has come to a closure for now. I'm not his lawyer. I wouldn't know whether they will seek appeal. But for now, my Lord, he's my brother. He's my friend. I went to school with him. We attended primary and secondary school together, though he was my junior. But it is my responsibility and obligation as a member of the National Assembly to represent him as well. My Lord, I plead for mercy, I plead for clemency, and I appeal for peace and for stability of not just the Southeast, but as well as Nigeria. Like the prosecutor said, Nigeria is bleeding over the last few days, and we must bring some of these issues to bear and to understand how to find common solutions to our common problem of terrorism. I also wish to appeal to the prosecution team that it is being done to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. The other people out there also doing more worse than him.
Please,
sorry, sir.
I asked for a locutor.
Yes, sir.
Please, don't.
So, I apologize, sir. So, I want the court to take judicial notice of that this trial has gone on for almost 10 years. Mazi Kanu is almost 56 or 57 years old now. He has been absent in his family life, his children, his community, his family. So I plead for the Lord to show mercy, to temper justice with mercy. And as we move forward, it shall be great for our country. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I'm a friend of the court, having come from the other side of the government. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to address the court. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And indeed, Omotosho then excused himself, and he told the court that he will be returning an hour later to deliver his judgments. Indeed, he came back just a little bit over an hour after, and he handed his judgment. Something that is not surprising. Life sentence. I hereby sentence you to life imprisonment, you Nnamdi Kanu, because of your rhetorics online. Watch it.
Although I'm not really persuaded, but I must temper justice with mercy. The court is moved by chapter 23, verse 23 of Matthew, in the book of Matthew, to the fact that, who unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you pay tithes of mint and anise and cumin, and has omitted the weightier matter of the law, judgment, mercy, and faith. This you ought to have done, particularly, and must notice the word in Matthew 23 and verse 23, the word mercy. Our Lord himself is merciful. No matter what we do, is a merciful God. It is on that note that the court will follow this above admonition of Jesus Christ in the above passage and show mercy to the convicts. In addition, the death penalty globally is now being frowned upon by the international community. Consequently, and in the interest of justice, I hereby sentence the convicts to life imprisonment for the said counts 1, 4, 5, and 6 instead of death sentence. Life is sacred to God. With respect to count 3, he is hereby sentenced to 20 years imprisonment without no option or fine. For count 7, he is sentenced to 5 years imprisonment without no option or fine. To extend the mercy, I hereby order that the sentence shall run concurrently. And due to the nature of the offenses that borders on terrorism and the attitude, violent nature of the defendants that I have taken judicial notice. The last adjourned date, he was so unruly and expressed violence, even was about to beat the security officers there. This morning, he repeated same. Although I'm not really
Oyedu Icon, Omeri Wonindizu, Woniria, Abakare, Mama Ora, Unapuri Meri Nnamdi, Nnamdi win the war. 500 1, 500 2. na Python that's a trade. Unaburi Mary Nnamdi win the war. Python that's one, Python that's two, na Python that's a trade. Unaburi Mary Nnamdi bu onye du aimo. O Mary wone zuru mbiro ya. Abakare Mamanda Mura. Unaburi Mary Nnamdi win the war. Python that's one, Python that's two, now Python that's a three. Unaburi Mary Nnamdi win the war. Python that's one, Python that's two, now Python that's a three. Unaburi Mary Nnamdi win the war. Python that's one, Python that's two, now Python that's a three. Unaburi Mary Nnamdi win the war. Python that's one, Python that's two, now Python that's a three. Unaburi Mary Nnamdi win the war. Python that's one, Python that's two, now Python that's a three. Unaburi Mary Nnamdi.
Omotosho, quoting the Bible, showing mercy, tampering justice with mercy. God is merciful, but God can't be mocked. When men turn themselves to God, writing destiny of other men, they are just making mockery of themselves because God can't be mocked. If you are new to this, welcome on board. We have seen this before. Binta Nyako did the same thing. Well, a year later, the same argument that Omotosho, like Binta Nyako, rejected, was only accepted by the appeal court in a landmark judgment in 2022, where Nnamdi Kanu was discharged and acquitted of all charges, and he was even told, if he wanted, Nigeria should put him on the next available private jet and fly him to wherever he wanted to go to in the world, and then go back and do it properly. So Omotosho has earned his own mansion with Wirewike. He's earned it. Probably they will fix up for him before Christmas, as Wirewike continue to build houses for all of them. But it will be on record that when the APC came, like the thieves, they came to steal, they came to kill, they came to destroy. They've divided the place. They are not for peace in whatsoever form. Men who want to take glory, right, of their own creators. We have seen many of them. They have come and gone. And as it stands, it has become almost impossible. I think the more they actually hold him, the more he's convinced and more convinced, convicted of his own, more convinced of his own conviction, rather. So his brother, outside the courtroom when Omotosho sent Nnamdi Kanu out of the court earlier.
For how long will this evil keep going? Though everywhere in Nigeria, people are dying. Terrorists are killing people. Did Mazi Nnamdi Kanu kill anyone? The answer is no. So what is he doing in detention? It's an act of evil. Attack against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is attack against the Igbos and innocent people of this country. What Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is facing is persecution and persecution. He has said this repeatedly. You cannot try a man without a written law. He has only simply asked the judge and the prosecution to provide him with that section of the law that says you can try him. You cannot try a man under a repealed law. That would not work. It looks as if there is a grand conspiracy to jail Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. So how can you jail a man who has done nothing? How can you jail a man that don't have any evidence to present before the court? It's a conspiracy. It looks as if there is a war between Igbos and Yorubas. Bear in mind that this very problem was inherited by President Nnamdi Kanu. They shouldn't make us look as if we're unapproachable. I reserve so many things, but the days and weeks to come by will determine the exact direction we have to follow. But I want to make this clear to each and every one of you. Nnamdi Kanu is not a terrorist, and they have done nothing to prove that he's a terrorist. Since 2016, this case began. From pillar to post, this same very situation was with my parents. In 2017, they could not survive the trauma of Operation Attendance. What is he asking for? Justice and equity. That's all he stands for. It's not against anybody in particular. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has come to court today to make it clear to the court that he has told the judge that he has no constitutional power to try him. Ab initio, the court lacks conviction. Even from the Supreme Court, they made a mess of this case by remitting the same case back to Federal High Court. That is called double jeopardy in law. You cannot try a man who has been discharged. For how long would this evil?
You can't. There's something called double jeopardy in law as well, truly. And I think it's also applicable to Nigeria, I want to believe. But yeah, they've had their day. So the question now is going to be, where are they going to take him? With the DSS and the guy that usually assault him, who is also a member of the team that always brings him to court. Are they going to now let him go? Are they going to put him in proper prison now? Or are they going to send him to their military prison? What is the worst they will have in stock before the whole house of cards comes crashing? It's going to crash. The table is going to turn. The shoe is going to be on the other foot. All of this, the persecutors today, right, will be the persecuted or the prosecuted tomorrow. This whole thing is not really going to go away. So now, if they are cooking this to make it look more like maybe Tifnumbu want to kind of like give himself his own trophy too, so that it will probably be like, okay, I pardoned him because he's convicted. The conviction is absolute nonsense. It is the same way as prescribing the IPOB. And it remained like that, even though there is no court judgment, there is no court order or whatever that actually prescribed the IPOB. But a judge was quoting something that is illegal, unlawful. The table is going to turn. And that's exactly what Showore is calling. He said, it's going to turn. And it is better for all of us to begin to actually see the real enemy here, right? Pointing fingers as they want you to do, while they, behind us, continue to decimate us, okay? Disarm us for the terrorists that likes of Gumi are bold enough to actually go out there and speak for. If we don't act, if we don't talk, if we don't really like mobilize, they will get to every one of us. All they need is just to manufacture something. They just need to manufacture something and put you away.
We want you to react to the outburst of Kanu today in court and how he was ordered to be thrown out.
Well, we have made it very clear that this trial in the first place was unnecessary. Nigeria is wasting its time on a trial that will take Nigeria nowhere, particularly at the time Nigeria is facing serious security challenges. That's what we should be focusing on, is how to retrieve the body of the Brigadier General that was killed, if they have not. It is how to save the 35 Muslim girls that were abducted from a high school, 25 of them. It has to save 35 Christians who were attacked and abducted live. And that's what Nigeria should concern itself with, not a flimsy, frivolous trial to jail somebody whose only crime is asking for justice, in my view. I was watching part of it because I was in court for a different matter. And when they were describing the evidence they have, I was expecting them to say that they found him with an RPG. No. The only evidence they found in his room was a microphone. And then the biggest weapon was a radio transmitter. I have never heard that before, that a country will waste 10 years to prosecute somebody whose only weapon is a radio transmitter and a microphone. They also found underwear. The rest is hearsay, including, they presented, by the way, an interview from Sahara reporters. Should anybody be jailed for being interviewed by Sahara reporters? They kept mentioning it. Interview Sahara reporters, interview Sahara reporters. So if someone did an interview with CNN now, does that mean the person should be jailed? And I'm aware that they are still reading the judgment. Laboriously, you could tell that the judge is struggling. Laboriously. I'm just hoping that between the time they present the case and the time the judgment will be delivered, that common sense will prevail, and Kanu will be allowed to rejoin his family, and Nigeria hopefully will start facing its real challenges, of which Nnamdi Kanu is not one of them. Thank you very much.
So, Kanu's brothers have alleged that Yorubas have to treat Igbos with what's happening.
There's always excuse, and the Nigerian state manufactures hatred of ethnic groups against themselves. But ask yourself, was it a Yoruba man that, was it an Igbo man that jailed Awolowo? It was a Yoruba man. Abi? When I was arrested by DSS in 2019, all the guys who came to abduct me, one of them was Ijo, another one was speaking Yoruba. The fact that you speak Yoruba doesn't mean you are Yoruba. But all the guys that were in charge of my detention, they were Yoruba people. So when they want to use you against yourselves, it is then that I start telling you the judge is Yoruba, this thing. But when it comes to stealing Nigeria's money and wealth, sharing among themselves, there is no religion, there is no tribe. But when it is to pitch yourself against yourselves, of course, you might say that the preponderance of commentary is coming mostly from some of the Yorubas. But that doesn't mean that the Yorubas are in support of injustice. Even if you look at the history of the Yorubas, politically, they have never supported one political person wholeheartedly. There was Awolowo, there was Akintola, there was Ajashin, there was Omoboriowo, there was Abiola, and some Yorubas didn't support him. Yorubas have always been, just as Igbos are. It's not every Igbo person today that supports even the agitation for Biafra. Does that mean that those people are not Igbos? It's not every Hausa person today that supports blasphemy convictions against some people who are, or even though they are Muslims. So don't let anybody use that to divide you. The person who is president of Nigeria today is a Yoruba man whose only campaign buzzword is Emilokon, is my turn. He didn't say that it's the turn of the Yorubas. And go and ask the Yorubas under this regime what they are going through. That is what the Yorubas call Enikon Loba. Now the person where you touch, now they feel am, is different from Emilokon. So you cannot be blaming, because before you know it now, Yorubas will start killing Igbos. Igbo will be killing Yorubas again, based on the misconception that the innocent, hungry Yoruba person is somehow or somewhat complicit in the nonsense that is happening against an Igbo man who is fighting for justice. Let's be careful about that, not to create that ethnic division any further. That's how they got us here. There's a breakdown of law and order in Nigeria already. Any country where a brigadier general can be abducted and killed, even when he fought himself, cannot be rescued, there's a breakdown of law and order. You see, there are two places to find order in the world. I mean, beyond. They said there's order in heaven and there's order in hell. The difference is that the first order and the first law in heaven is order. The last law in hell is order. Nigeria has become hell. Well, the last law is order. So there's no breakdown of law and order that can happen. But I know them. They can go and manufacture another breakdown of law and order. Even those of us who were peacefully protesting in this Abuja for Nnamdi Kanu, they claimed that we wanted to burn down the country. I spent 4 days in Kuje prison just because I said free Nnamdi Kanu. When I went to Lagos after that, they declared me wanted for fighting for Yoruba people whose houses they are demolishing. So when they create a narrative for you to fall for, be careful, so that you won't start killing and fighting the same poor people. Some of them don't even know about this trial because they are hustling to get food on their table maybe once or twice a day. So that is why I keep saying that the country needs a revolution. I don't have any doubt about it. Thank you.
The vintage Showore. So he was in court for a case between himself and that's what they call himself, Ned Nwoko, that senator. Then they asked him about Nnamdi Kanu. What is it that Nnamdi Kanu have said that a lot of the people have not said was? Some of you, in your own time of rage with this contraption, when Nigeria happened to you, you said horrible things. And they've never held you to it, to that. But Nigeria is a place where they can always manufacture anything. Here you get. So I've had people here that wanted me arrested. Yeah. And we asked them why. Because I insulted their leaders. I have no respect for this one. No get respect. Is it because you are living abroad? All these people who are living abroad, they are the ones who are always causing trouble. Causing trouble by talking about the people that are actually like killing you. That's diabolical. Then someone they wanted me arrested. I was like, okay, if you arrest me, what would you say I have done? Because I am demarketing Nigeria. Because I'm always, I don't see good news about Nigeria. I'm always disrespecting their leaders. I'm like, your leaders are disrespecting you. Do you not even understand? They are not leading you. They are ruling you. They are rulers. And we call them ruiners too. They hate you. You don't understand, like, if something you love, you don't treat it that way. These are a bunch of miscreants that are holding political positions. And suddenly, they see themselves as God over you. Law doesn't really matter. They are laws themselves. And everybody exposing them should not be exposed to violence from the same people who are the victims of these guys. You. So, Nnamdi Kanu said, we will kill them if they kill us. We will kill you if you kill us. Then you removed if you kill us. He said, he said he will kill us. And the media kind of like played a very good role there. Very, very evil role. Not good, evil role. In ensuring that people are somehow psychologically, emotionally, and what have you, are conditioned to accept the lies from the people who intentionally put your lives in danger. And the one that is screaming that you need to defend yourself and fight them, and you do, please don't, no mercy. If the military comes to defend them, consider them as terrorists too. How is that a crime if they are not actually covering up something? Since they locked Nnamdi Kanu up, right? You've seen the advancement of this terrorism. It's growing and growing and growing. So right now, I'm going to say to you, especially to those of you who are gloating and, over this, you shouldn't, right? In fact, Nnamdi Kanu being the center of this whole conversation means the entire country, possibly the entire continent, and even the rest of the world are very much aware of what is going on. And guess what people are saying? This is injustice. Yeah? Even those who don't believe in Biafra, those who are not even supporting Biafra, we have seen so many of them who have said, no, this is. I have seen those who are like one Nigerianist, who have said, I don't believe his ideology, I don't like his style, but this is absolute nonsense. This is rubbish. This is not justice. They've made mockery of the whole thing, but they just don't know when to stop. They don't know when to stop. So, brethren, thank you very much for your time. I decided to use this afternoon to give you this possible detailed report of what really happened and transpired, because this is not the end of it. In fact, this could be actually the beginning of something more. So eventually, Tifnubu and his own handlers, right, probably are wishing and hoping that they will be the ones to convince Nnamdi Kanu to at least just accept it. Just say you are not going to do Biafra again. Just say you're not going to talk about it again. So that we're going to let you go. They've told him that for years already. You can walk out of this place right now. And it will be like nothing happened. In fact, we can welcome you to the big league where, just say you are not going to do the Biafra thing again. Because that shout of Biafra, Biafra, Biafra send this strange, sort of like a cold shiver down the spines of those Fulani terrorists. You may not admit it. It actually strikes terror in them. The one I have seen most of them expressed publicly, that sometimes I'm like, Abubakar, Why are you so mad with Nnamdi Kanu? That Nnamdi Kanu, they have to kill him. I say, Abubakar from Sokoto. Which concern you with Nnamdi Kanu? You said get IPOB for Sokoto. It's because you want to break Nigeria. It's because he hates us. I was like, so you have no contact with him. He's done nothing to you. But somehow they have succeeded in brainwashing you enough that Nnamdi Kanu is more dangerous than those who are actually killing people around you. Abubakar, you said reason now. What would you say Nnamdi Kanu's offense to anybody from northern Nigeria in the state of what Nigeria has become today? What would any reasonable person from northern Nigeria say is his own reason for wanting Nnamdi Kanu jailed or killed, other than speaking from what they have, the narratives they have been pushing on you slowly for years today? But you know, the moment you take a break and just be like, wait, then the whole thing won't make any sense to you anymore. It won't make any sense to you. And we'll get to that point. Enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, or maybe evening, right? And I'm going to see you later, of course, tonight. Thank you very much. And then good afternoon.
Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Mayegun ti dé o, ọ̀rẹ́ ará ìlú.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Lórí Facebook, lórí YouTube.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Gbogbo bó ṣe ń lọ ni Mayegun já wa sí.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Àṣírí ọ̀jẹ̀lú kì í bò níbẹ̀ o.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Bó bá ṣe eré, àní Mayegun máa wí.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Ó sì tún ṣe eré, wàá gbọ́ níbẹ̀ o.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Mayegun diary, diary politico.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Godfatherism kò sí lọ́rọ̀ Mayegun.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Ẹ farabalẹ̀ sẹ́ o kẹgbọ́rọ̀ lẹ́nu o.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Àní Mayegun làwa mọ̀ tó dòdòdò.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé. Mayegun ti dé.
Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Lórí Facebook.
Mayegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Lórí YouTube.
Mayegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Bọ́ bàbá gbé wúrẹ́.
Mayegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Ijó ìgbádìyẹ.
Mayegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Bí pẹ̀sìdó bá rúfin o.
Mayegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Bí gómìnà kówó jẹ.
Mayegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Ọlọ́pàá tí ń darí bá.
Mayegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Aṣòfin tí ń rúfin o.
Mayegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Òpùrọ́ olóṣèlú.
Mayegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Mayegun gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran o.
Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran.
Wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀ o Máyégún ó sọ pé wọ́n ò bẹ́ẹ̀. Wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀ Máyégún ó sọ pé wọ́n ò bẹ́ẹ̀. Oníkan ṣáàtì ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe fáwọn ará ìlú tó gbé wọn débẹ̀ o.
Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.
Kì máa yí ṣe eré ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣe ẹ̀fẹ̀. Kì máa yí ṣe eré ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣe ẹ̀fẹ̀. Ẹni bá ti lè lẹ́bọ̀ lẹ́rù o ọmọ bá dèrò kàṣà ìtú wọn síta.
Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.
Tẹnitẹni ọmọ Máyégún ọ̀rẹ́ ara ìlú mọ̀mọ́ ni mo fọlọ́run ṣọ́ ẹ̀ bá kìlẹ́bù. Lóòótọ́ olódodo ìlú ọ̀tá ìlú mọ̀mọ́ ni ìwọ ṣá máa ń ṣọ́ra kò sì mọ́ bẹ̀rù. Bọ́tà ń lé ibi oníṣègùn lé káwọn mọ̀mọ́ fi ṣera wọn ni ó ti dẹrùn tí wọn ò gbọ́dọ̀ sì mọ́ bẹ̀. Èèpo ọ̀bọ lọmọ bá dérò tàjẹ́ ò gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ́ ó ti jọba lórí àbínú ẹni kò sì mọ́ bùyà. Àìsíwọ̀lú ní ẹnìkẹ́ ìgbódì ẹyin lábàrá o ó kó ẹni tó bá dán wò á kàmù. Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì o. Ẹni bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran o.
Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.